Beach police just confirmed today that Mandy Myers was strangled to death. Now her ex-boyfriend and the father of her children, Jamil Graves, has been charged with first-degree murder. Just to make it clear, is PTSD a valid reason for the Navy to take back a bonus?
I don't know the answer to that.
1,700 people have had their taxes done in the past several weeks by Mo Money, and there's no telling how many have actually gotten any money. And we plan on asking them who didn't do their job. Why were these potholes so bad to begin with, and will Hampton Roads drivers be compensated for all of the damage to their cars?
Why does it take this outrage from the public? Why does it have to be people having their cars damaged, having state troopers deem the road to be too dangerous for VDOT to finally take action and do something to fix the roads?
When a local TV reporter contacted by Marine wife Shelley Federico started looking into the allegations.
After Shelley's story spread through the neighborhood, other Navy families started coming forward. The internal emails come from the Hampton VA, uncovered by a News Channel 3 investigation. They show schedulers at the hospital are working overtime on what's known as the near call list, contacting 836 veterans who have been waiting for an appointment to try and get them in as quickly as possible after the Phoenix VA scandal. It's something our local VA hospital has never publicly admitted before, that veterans are falling through the cracks and not seeing doctors in a timely manner. So News Channel 3 pressed the Hampton VA about the near list through these emails last week, and Friday, the hospital's director, Michael Dunphy, finally admitted the call list has not been used properly. And because of it, they could not guarantee that all veterans who asked for an appointment in the past actually got one. It's just the latest problem uncovered at our local VA hospital, but according to those who used to work at the Hampton VA, there is still much more waiting to be discovered.
They will go to any lengths to protect themselves, their positions, their bonuses.
Dr. Pamela Gray worked at the Hampton VA from 2008 to 2010 in primary care and internal medicine. And during her time there, she learned firsthand how schedulers got around the VA's 30-day appointment guidelines.
The scheduler was told to note that that patient called and requested a later date. In point of fact, the later date, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months down the line, was the initial opening. But in doing it that way, it allowed the administrative chief to say we've met our goal. Everyone was seen within the allotted time frame. That equals a bonus.
And Dr. Gray says archaic rules put in place by those at the top hampered the hospital's ability to provide timely care, contributing to long appointment wait times.
You can't have openings if you only start at 8 and you quit at 4 and you have 60 minutes off for lunch. In 28 years of private practice, I don't think I ever ate lunch. You work straight through, and when someone calls and urgently needs to be seen, your answer is yes, let me work you in.
But Dr. Gray says at the Hampton VA, that type of productivity is totally unacceptable, and she was actually reprimanded for trying to fit more patients into her schedule.
Their scheduling system didn't allow for a patient to be scheduled between 12 and 1, therefore it couldn't be done. The reason I was given is they didn't want my productivity to exceed the other physicians. It might show that more work could be done.
But because of the way the VA tracks hospital performance, the Hampton VA consistently touts themselves as being one of the top performers in the country.
They have crossed all the T's and dotted the I's in their system. Their system is not reality.
So what's the answer? How do we fix the broken system? Dr. Gray says the best way is to adopt a system like TRICARE, which allows military families to choose care at a private doctor or a military hospital. But whatever lawmakers decide, she just hopes stories like hers actually make a difference this time in the care of our nation's veterans.
I would hope that we don't wait for yet another scandal. How many more scandals do we need?
Remember him?
We're going to get better, and we're going to win back the trust of all these families, one home at a time.
Lincoln Military Housing President Gerald Bliss made that promise to News Channel 3 in December of 2011. So 18 months later, has the company cleaned up their act? Pictures continue to flood into News Channel 3 to this day, showing living conditions inside Lincoln complexes all over Hampton Roads. That's a bathtub about to come through a ceiling in a home in Whitehurst Farms, one of Lincoln's newest communities. This tile backsplash, according to the sender, collapsed on top of her 6-year-old child while he was showering in this bathroom in Shelton Circle. and those are termites covering the kitchen of a home in Ben Morel. Then there is this video of mold inside walls uncovered after a water leak burst through the ceiling. But we'll get to the moldy business later. First, the stinky business. This photo snapped at Joint Forces Staff College after a sewage backup near the former homes of Shauna Sheriff and Heather Schuler.
It was disgusting. I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, it just stunk.
These ladies say the backups occurred on a regular basis at the complex. The latest leak took place in March, and that's when Shauna discovered what those leaks left behind.
There was 2.5 feet of mold all around that entire room.
Tests showed significant levels of mold everywhere the sewage water had touched. Lincoln says they immediately remediated the sheriff's home following Virginia state laws. But Shauna worried about what she couldn't see. According to the mold inspection report she paid for, quote, "It is suspected that mold may be present in these areas concealed behind walls and ceilings."
We were told by numerous Lincoln representatives that the home was safe to live in.
It's a concern for many families living inside Lincoln housing, hidden mold. That's what Angela Walker says she was a victim of.
The sickening fact that I've lived like this. And I didn't know.
The problems, though, started with visible mold at her Ben Morel home, in her laundry room, in her air ducts, and in her kitchen cabinets.
It was nothing but solid black under there. And it smelled horrible.
Angela does admit that in each instance, Lincoln immediately responded to the mold they could see.
I did see the plastic up. I did see the barriers up. They did, have the zipper thing off. They did contain it.
But again, she worried about what she couldn't see. And Angela says her fears were confirmed in March when her neighbor captured this on video.
Your garage is pouring water.
I didn't understand the full situation until I came home and I saw it for myself and saw parts of my ceiling just on the floor. You've got the pink insulation, but it's not all pink. It's like got patches of black. Looking up at the studs, and all you see is the mold covering the wood.
Mold tests confirmed extremely high levels of Stachybotrys on the ceiling drywall. It's a slow-growing mold that shows long-term moisture problems.
They knew. They knew exactly what was in there.
Brittany Graff, another Navy wife, says she knew how bad that home was because she lived in that exact same unit before Angela.
The downstairs bathroom, the wall started bubbling. The laundry room started leaking water from the wall. Down at the base of the wall, the vent started leaking.
All the same places that Angela later found mold. Lincoln says they remediated the home between the Graffs move out and the Walkers move in. Angela tried to get a remediation certificate, proof that work was indeed done, but the response from Lincoln Vice President Joe Sharp, "We will not be releasing to you records regarding prior residents."
We were told it was a privilege to live in military housing. It wasn't our right, but it is our right to live in a safe environment.
That's the basis of the legal case Lincoln now faces in federal court, whether they were negligent in putting families in moldy homes. 20 lawsuits have been filed so far, and the first case will be heard by a federal judge tomorrow here in Norfolk. But according to plaintiffs' attorneys, more than 200 additional lawsuits are waiting in the wings, including Angela and Shauna's cases.
They need to be held accountable for the hospital bills, the damage that we've suffered already.
But no matter what happens in court, these women say they want the Navy and Congress to know what is still going on inside Lincoln military housing.
You need to keep investigating this company and make sure that they do what is right for service members.
I don't want Lincoln to have this opportunity to wreck other people's lives like they've done so many of us.
Now, we asked Lincoln and specifically the president, Gerald Bliss, to speak to us on camera for this story, but they refused, citing the pending litigation. Lincoln reps reiterated to us that they worked with all of these families to fix their issues and say in this statement, no one is forced to live in our housing. They choose to do so because of our reputation and record in serving military families. We also spoke with Navy officials, and they encourage any military family that is having problems with their landlord, including Lincoln, to come to the housing office on base to get help. Lori Simmons, News Channel 3. They began as memories of war he just couldn't shake.
You hear explosions and gunfire, and you were in bunkers. That was, I think, the first time I was really, truly scared and wasn't sure I was going to be coming home.
But then those fears started turning his mind against him.
I think I'd see people following me and being hyper-vigilant, looking out the window all the time. I had thoughts that just don't make any sense at all.
2 years later, Michael Fulson still can't explain how he fell into that dark place, controlled by his post-traumatic stress disorder. The former airman served for 15 years through 4 deployments, never fully realizing the demons eating away at his mind until after he left the military, leaving his new wife Amy alone to pick up the pieces of who he used to be.
He felt like he didn't come home, that he was just that he died over there.
Michael's severe symptoms consumed the couple's time, leaving them jobless and bankrupt with their marriage in shambles.
To be honest, I thought it was me. I thought that he just didn't want us to be together anymore.
Until one day last February when Michael hit rock bottom.
My wife sitting here on the couch pretty much crying, begging me to go to the hospital because she was scared. Through that fog that I was in, I recognized, that I was going to lose my wife. I was going to lose my marriage.
Michael checked into intensive inpatient therapy, but lots of questions remained for Amy. She didn't know of any place she can turn for advice and help.
How do you fix someone's mind when it's broken? I went online. I went searching. I started seeing that I wasn't alone.
Through Facebook, Amy found an outlet, with other military wives just like her struggling to bring their loved ones out of the darkness.
Everybody's story is different, but there's always a connection.
Even creating her own Facebook group called Wives of PTSD Vets. Navigating the ins and outs.
Doesn't mean every day is a bad day.
The tricks and tips.
Breathe in for 2, breathe out for 2.
That made life livable.
Can you say hi?
For her family.
There's days that it's hard to share what we've gone through because you're afraid of being judged. It's like just pulling a scab off and letting it bleed again.
But her online experience ended up being a therapy of its own, leading Amy to think about branching out.
It kind of shocked me in such a large military and veteran area that there's nothing for spouses.
So Amy plans to fill that service gap by starting the first ever PTSD family support group in Hampton Roads. They will meet once a month for 2 hours, hoping to eventually bring a psychiatrist on board.
It'll be a place where we can come and we can share our experiences, share what we've been through, what we're going through.
Hoping her family's success can be the rallying cry for others just starting out in their battle against PTSD.
If we can help another couple maybe avoid some of the pitfalls that we have, then this isn't in vain.